Welcome to the Path to Purpose show, where we share our inspiring and universal stories about finding and fulfilling our purpose. My name is Katja Rissanen, and I'm your host, transformational story coach, and mentor for purpose driven entrepreneurs. My intention for this show is to inspire you on your path to purpose. And today I have a pleasure to interview Bill Mason from Rocket Fuel Coach, who loves to grow courageous leaders. He aims to help business owners and executives embrace their fears, reduce conflicts, and become more productive. And using assessments, he helps you discover who you are and who you are not, maximizing your strengths and minimizing your weaknesses. And his goal is to help you maintain a healthy work and life balance to win both in business and life. And today, he'll share with us how to be a superhuman. So that's exciting. So let's get
Yeah,
started here. So welcome,
awesome.
Bill. I'm excited to have you here.
Thanks, Katja. It's great to be with you. Super cool.
And let me just ask you, how did you find your path? Was there a special event that led you to this path?
Yeah, so I've been mentoring people about 30 years, young men and women. And I have a really strong personality. And one of my friends, who's a coach, said, "Hey, would you like to do some strengths coaching with me from this Clifton's assessment?" And his name is Dave. And I was like, Clifton's, I've taken that, not real impressed, whatever. And he's like, "Well, it's really awesome. It's transformational." And I thought, transformational, really, Dave? I've done a lot of assessments. I don't think it's transformational. He's like, "Well, I'll do it for free. Could you just do it with me?" And I was like, "Well, I want to help my friend Dave." So I do this coaching, this strengths coaching through my Clifton's assessment. And the Clifton's is just an assessment that tells you kind of who you are and who you're not. And in the first session, I have this interesting talent called self-assurance. It's fairly rare. It's low in the population. It doesn't occur a lot, but it means I feel like I'm right a lot, and I'm pretty much always right. And so we're going through this assessment and he's coaching me through it and we're talking about it. I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it's really me. It's not really me. It's really me." And Dave's like, "It's your number one. Usually your number one is pretty much who you are." I was like, "Huh,
Mhm.
that's interesting." So as we're going through this bottom part, these talents that we have both this light and this dark portion, right? So sometimes who you are comes across awesome and amazing. And sometimes, especially if you're deregulated or not having a good day or experiencing negative emotions, who you are can come across really negatively, right? So one of the ways my self-assurance comes across is I can come across as stubborn, self-righteous, arrogant, overconfident because I think I'm right. And so I would get into arguments about this, right? So somebody would, "Hey, you're wrong," which kind of hurts my feelings. And then I would prove that they were wrong and I was right. And I thought that I would help them to come to a conclusion, and they walk off thinking I'm a jerk, right? And so I was like, "See, I'm not that guy, Dave. That's not who I am." And he makes the statement, "Well, Bill, your basements show just as much who you are as your balconies." And it was like this huge light bulb went off. And I
Mm.
pondered that for the next couple months or the next couple weeks. And as I went into the next coaching session, he helped me to realize I had these limiting beliefs around who I was. And when you don't like who you are, you hide, you stuff, you pretend to be things. And these limiting beliefs come and attach to this. And I've spent a lot of times mentoring people and trying to figure out how to get past this. And in that one coaching session, it was an instant release. I figured out what was going on, figured out better how to move forward, and signed up to be a coach, a leadership coach that next week. So I started on this path about 5 years ago. And I have loved the transformation. Dave was right. It's transformational. I
Mm.
have, in the last 5 years, I've learned more about myself than I have in the last 30. I'm 56. And so it's been phenomenal to have this coaching, this assessment that we went through in the coaching, and we added some emotional intelligence to it on figuring out how to regulate, and it's been transformational to be able to do that, and to be able to do this with others, been just fantastic.
Wow. I love that light bulb moment, like really when the words really enter. And then
Mhm.
it's like, aha, now I get it. And it is really knowing ourselves. And yes, we might not always like about the so-called weaknesses or areas where we
Right.
can do better, but it is also accepting those parts because
Mhm.
I so believe what you said when we embrace our beingness, who we truly are,
Mhm.
that's where we have the power and strength.
It really is. And it's helped me too, feel more comfortable on my skin, of course, both, the negative things about our talents, but also the positive. But I really
Mm.
don't judge people anymore. It's interesting with the talents, you can pick out the conflict that we have is almost always this talent conflict. You have this talent, I don't have it. You don't understand it, you don't like it. I don't understand it, I don't like it. And then we judge each other because you're different. And the reality, it's like judging me because I'm 5'6" rather than 6 foot tall. There's really
Mm.
nothing I can do about it. And then figuring out with assessments, sometimes people feel like it gives them an excuse to be whoever they are. And it's true, that's who you are, but learning how that, almost like my car, that's got a brake pedal and a gas pedal, learning how to accelerate your personality and then slow your personality based on who you're around has been super helpful.
Mm. And I love that analogy, because otherwise, if you don't know that, it can be a bumpy ride for
It
sure.
sure can. It sure can. Well, it's who I am, so I have the right to do
Yeah.
this. Well, not exactly. If
Mm.
you want to come across in negative ways, you're right. You can be exactly who you are.
Yeah.
So it's been really awesome to be able to do that and reduce conflict universally in my life, both professionally and personally. It's been amazing.
Wow, that sounds amazing, really. And one of the things I wanted to ask you, as your company name is very intriguing, the Rocket Fuel Coach. And let's start with this big question, because I know you help people to achieve their goals. And
Mhm.
I have this um, awareness now how you do it. So I believe that these assessments and this is like one key element. But why do so many people struggle to achieve their goals? Like from your perspective, what would you say is the
Yeah.
reason?
It's a great question. I think first, a lot of people get stuck, right? So they have limiting beliefs. They don't really understand what they're really great at. They often will focus on things they're not good at and think they should kind of focus on those weaknesses. But when you focus on your weaknesses, you only get marginally better. When you focus on what you're good at, it brings energy, it's fun, it's enjoyable. And if you can get a lot of cycles in what you're really good at, it accelerates your growth. The other big key, so assessments are super helpful. The next thing is emotional intelligence. A lot of times we are not taught when we're young to figure out I'm being frustrated or I'm angry or I'm ashamed, and we don't know what to do those emotions. And so we get triggered and we just kind of blow up or we kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And so that's the second big thing is we just don't know how to regulate. And that's learned. It's a learned response. You can learn, your EQ can grow for the rest of your life. And so learning to be able to have negative emotions, set in those emotions, know what to do with them, and growing a big window of tolerance so that these negative emotions are there, but they don't overcome me anymore. And I can still relate to people. And then I think the big thing too for me over the years has been finding mentors and a coach. If you have others who you're in it to win it with, who are on your team, who you can use as a sounding board, you can interact with, it's like night and day. Coaches almost always accelerate your growth.
Mm, they do.
They do.
I'm a firm believer. I tried to do things on my own. That was a little bit hard way to do it.
It is really hard, right? It's
And
better together, always.
yeah, I love that. It's better
Yeah,
together. And
better
so
together.
tell me a little bit like what kind of results have your clients experienced after working with you, after they have put those pieces that you just shared together? What can they do?
Yeah, thanks. Well, so you mentioned my company, so I'm Rocket Fuel Coach.
Mm.
So the reason I called it that, I was Bill Mason Coaching, and I tried another couple of names, and I was trying to figure out what to do. And one of my early clients made the comment that I turned what he thought were weaknesses into rocket fuel for his success. And I thought, now that that'll preach,
Excellent.
right? So I thought that would be a phenomenal name. And then as I talked to my friends about it, like, Bill, that's exactly kind of describes who I am. I'm a really intense person. I love action. I love movement. I love influencing people and getting people to move. And so I thought this is a perfect name, describes who I am and the results I get. Some of
Mm,
the other results we've gotten. So we work with individuals, CEOs, leaders, some couples, and on teams. And our focus really is CEOs and teams. And so we've had one plumbing company that I have. They were having conflict, a lot of conflict, enough so that they were unable to really get a lot of work done, and it was causing a lot of problems. And the personnel issue, they're having turnover. So the owner hired me, and we went through this 2-month coaching course that we do with through their Cliftons. And within 3 weeks, the conflict that we're having with, maybe it's a 90 or 95%, right, dropped to 10%. It's phenomenal. And then he's told me several times, as well as the primary guy he hired me to help, that the guy that I'm helping through the coaching and the Clifton's assessment, but then really through the coaching, the guy's a different guy. He was angry, he was frustrated, he was blowing up all the time. And he no longer does that. He's had people that's known him most of his life tell him that we don't know what's going on, but whatever you're doing, keep it up. So we've seen this kind
yeah.
of conflict reduction with very, very, from just coming with self-awareness and then helping people to realize with very pointed coaching, if you want to respond this way, people will respond that way. Are you sure you want to be
Mm,
doing that? And, a lot of us, our friends, we may have character traits that are kind of like, there's something on my face, but people don't tell us because they think, well, we're trying to be nice. I don't want to tell you that that's annoying, or you talk too much, or you do A, B, C, right? And so a lot of things about coaching is that you have people who care about you, and they care enough to say, hey, so when you say these things, do you realize you come across in very negative ways?
mhm,
Or you say these things and you come across very positive. So not only does it maximize your potential by increasing who you are, it also can help you from having these areas that people may not tell you about, that will open up these sticking points that are keeping you from becoming who you really want to be, because nobody will tell you.
oh,
One other thing we've done is I've coached about 200 people through their Cliftons. We've had at least 8 people get in the midst of the coaching in the 2-month course and realize their company and their current employment is a terrible fit. We've had over 8 people, 8 or 9 people, quit their jobs.
mm,
Um, Not just quit, but figure out, oh, they're in a
yeah,
bad
what
fit,
they
go
want.
find a new job, and went to a better job than the job they're currently in. So that's been awesome to see them really grow and flourish in this new endeavor. Because some people get stuck and they have a sunk cost and they won't leave because they think I shouldn't leave, but then they're miserable, which then
Mm.
impacts their family, their friends, and everything else in life.
Yeah, and it's again knowing yourself, and then maybe having that support as well, to being able to take that leap of faith, changing direction, because that can be scary sometimes. Like even
Oh,
though you're
terrifying, right?
miserable, it might feel still
Yep.
more comfortable to stay there than take a step forward and saying, "Hey, I'm changing direction." So
It really is. It really
at
is.
least that was my experience. I was working as a supervisor in one of the world's leading business banks. And then I was like, one day I want to do coaching. And
I
it was like,
love it.
whoa, you do what? So,
You what?
so that was a big shock. And also like family and some of the friends were also like,
Yeah.
are you sure? Do you
Right.
really want to do it? So then having a coach or somebody who supports and kind of can be the cheerleader that sometimes you
Right.
need as well to, okay, let's do this.
Yeah, exactly. How do you feel now that you've done this, made this huge shift?
Yeah, I'm so glad that I did because it was, and my body actually started telling me it's time. I
Hmm.
started to have pain in the chest area, and that actually
Oh,
was the thing
wow.
that pushed me like taking that
Wow,
leap
that's
of
awesome.
faith. I needed something that severe, and it was just a stress. It wasn't, I went to doctors and they were like, it's
Mhm.
stress. And I knew that moment, like my body was telling it's time. You need to follow your dream. You need to follow your calling.
Yeah.
But I did need that to tell me, like, give
Yeah.
that little, not that gentle push, push towards the right direction. So,
Exactly.
mhm.
Exactly. And a lot of people get stuck because they're just afraid and there's no one to help them. So especially for CEOs and teams, having somebody that they can brainstorm with, walk through things and not just leave immediately, not make irrational
Yeah,
decisions, but really think through,
plan.
hey, these are some things I want. This is what I want in the future. I'm not going to get it. If nothing changes, I'm never going to get it. Why don't we start to make that first step? Because that first step is what most
Mhm.
people struggle with. Momentum has you just stuck. And if you can take one step, then you can start taking more steps. And soon you're out of the quicksand that you used to be in. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So that first step, because now somebody might be listening and like, maybe they have a dream, or maybe they even want to take a step forward in the company where they are. Besides contacting you, which of course I recommend,
Mm-hmm.
and getting all your support, what can someone do if they find themselves having conflict, if they find themselves in a place where they are not really living their dream?
Mm-hmm.
So, what would be a first step that they could do?
Yeah, one of the first steps I help most of my clients do, of course, I would tell you take the Clifton's assessment and walk through that, and you'll gain knowledge. You don't need a coach to walk through that.
Mhm.
Super helpful to have somebody else do that. That's one big step. And then one other huge step I encourage everybody to do is create gratitude in your life, right? So a challenge I usually give people is you should take the next 30 days and if you have conflict in one relationship, go back every day and tell that person something you appreciate about them, something you're thankful for, and do it every day for 30 days and see what actually happens to the conflict in that relationship. We've had marriages flip around. Like I talked to you about, the one guy we coached radically transformed his professional relationships and radically transformed his marriage. That
Wow.
would be yeah. So that's my challenge for the next 30 days. Go
So
say
you
thank you
heard it.
and I appreciate you, both about what you do and who they are,
Yeah.
and see what happens in that relationship.
I love that challenge. So let us know in the comments if you take this challenge, say yes, because it is, again, super duper powerful. And I love that you gave something tangible for
Mhm.
people to like, okay, let me test this out. Let me
Right.
do this. Because
See if it
again,
works.
it's good that we talk and give you inspiration ideas, but you need to put this work into action too. So I love that, love that, love that challenge.
Awesome.
So, and you've given us a lot to think about today. And one of the things you mentioned, though, and we haven't touched that yet, because how to be a superhuman. What is your definition of the superhuman?
Yeah, I would say being a superhuman is finding out what your talents are, what your strengths are, and then spending a lot of time in those strengths. Because what we've found is Clifton's done research. They looked at all these different talents to figure out if you're a leader, do you have these talents or these talents or these talents? And what they found was great leaders don't have a specific set of talents. What
Mm,
great leaders do is they find out who they really, really are, and they don't waste time on things they're not good at. They get a lot of cycles, a lot of reps doing what they're really good at, and they become exponentially better. It's amazing what happens when you do what you love, brings energy, that you're fun, that you have success at, and what brings significance in your life. And so, one of the things we're trying to do with most of our clients is not only help them make money, but to make significance along with money, and they become superhumans in their friendships, in their as a boss, in their relationships with their family, as parents, in every part of their life. Figuring out who you're really good at and then being thankful for that brings this appreciation that accelerates your growth towards who you could really become. Best day in your life is when you find out who you really are.
mm. I love that. Thank you for sharing that definition as well. And that just is so inspiring when you even talked about that. I felt that energy is the rocket
Awesome.
fuel that you
That's right.
that you
Here we
talked
go.
about. Yeah. And I know you put
Thank
that
you.
together a gift for my audience. So
Mhm.
to take this, what we have talked about here, to the next level. So, can you talk about the gift?
Yeah. So if you go to my website, there's a free gift. It's at www.rocketfuelcoach.com. It's actually two there. There's a free be the master of your own day PDF that you can download. That'll help you start that first step. If you're stuck and you don't know what to do, how can I start my day by mastering being the master of my day and not have my day master me? So that's one great gift. And if you want another free gift that's there, you can sign up for a free Fear Buster breakthrough coaching session. So if you take your Cliftons before you take it, or before you sign up, and you come ready to move, we'll get you moving forward on that first coaching session for free, and you'll find rocket fuel for your success.
Wonderful. And I will drop the link to the show notes, so you find those links there too. So check them out, take advantage of these amazing offers, have a session with Bill, so you can find that rocket fuel for you to move forward. And now, as we start wrapping up here, do you have a special message that you would like to share?
Yeah, I think the greatest gift you can give to yourself is figuring out who you are. I feel like I'm a different guy than 5 years ago. I no longer have conflict in my life at all. My wife and I have been married for 33 years, and the last 5 years has been amazing. We really have eradicated conflict. And so it's amazing to figure out who you are and have somebody alongside you to really become who you are and get rid of limiting beliefs, reduce conflict, and really feel just love life, because you no longer are frustrated by people telling you who you are, thinking you have to be somebody you're not. So that would be my encouragement.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Bill, for your time today and all the work that
Thanks,
you do
Katja.
in the world. And thank you for tuning in here and watching the Path to Purpose interview show. If you like this interview, hit the thumbs up button. And I am sending you lots of love, lots of light. Stay well and stay tuned for the next episode by subscribing to this channel. And you can also check the previous episodes. Bye for now.
Bye.